So what we're going to do is have a look at some of the past HSC questions that have to do with images from industrial technology. So I'm going to annotate this document so you can follow along a little bit easier. Okay, so in which set of all the file types used for the following image files? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at this question and have a look at the first option. So straight away, I've got no idea what this is, okay, but that doesn't matter. I know what a bitmap and a PNG is, but I also know what a wave is, and a wave is not an image file, so you can just cut that out straight away. Don't worry if you can't recognize stuff, because the question asks, in which set are all the file types used for image files? You know that wave's not, so it doesn't matter what PCX is. Okay, in this case, I'm straight away going to pick up a WMA, is a Windows Media Audio file, so that's not an option. Here's WMA again, so I'm going to cross that out. So let's look at this last option, and here we've got TIFF, that's an image, PNG is an image, JPEG and bitmap are both images. Okay, which of the following describes the function of a scanner? It doesn't create vector images, only programs like Illustrator do that. It does create bitmapped images, yes, but I'm not going to pick that straight away because I know that that is a function of a scanner, but there might be a better answer because really, you know, it scans, converts images or text into bitmapped images, so I suppose that is a creation method, but it's probably not a spectacular answer and there might be a better one. So we've got here converting bitmapped images into vector images. Well, it definitely doesn't do that, so let's delete that. Converting bitmapped text images into editable text. So you can have like OCR, optical character recognition, and that will convert bitmapped text images into editable text. But I suppose in terms of the function of the scanner, the function of a scanner is not to turn stuff into editable text. That's an added feature. So I would say that the function here would be B, creating bitmapped images. So that's the best answer. So I'm going to cross out D here. Okay, an image scanned at 600 dpi has an image size of 16 megabytes. What would the expected file size be if it was rescanned at 300? Now I'm not going to look at the options here. I'm going to first of all have a look at what's the original file size is 16 meg, and that's at 600 dpi. So what change are they making is what I'm going to ask myself between the old image and the new image. The new image is half the DPI. So when we look at the dots per inch, that's resolution. So if we're halving the resolution, we also need to halve the file size. So in this case, it's going to be 8 meg because half of one and half of the other. So let's have a look at this one. A graphic file has its width and height set to 320 by 256 pixels respectively. What percentage of the screen area will the graphic cover when the display on a monitor is set to 1280 by 1024 pixel resolution? So what I like to do when I find questions like this is draw up what they would look like. So I've got my resolution monitor here. Now if we look at this, 256 is much easier for me to calculate because I'm not very good at maths, but I do know that my double 1 is 2, double 2 is 4, double 4 is 8, double 8 is 16, and so on, to get a 256, 512, and 1024. So I know that the 1024 is 4 times 256. So that would mean that it is a quarter of the width. So if I go here to half width, okay, and then I move that over to a quarter, so that's going to be the little component there. And 320, so if I go 1280, half of 80 is 40, and half 12 is 6, so that's 640, and then half of 640 is 320. So again, that's going to be, if I go here, that's going to be half there, but it's not half, it's actually a quarter of that size. So what I have is that my file is around this bit here. So this bit here is my actual file size in comparison to the whole screen resolution. Now, when we look at this, if we go, it's not half, it's not a quarter, so let's rule out these straight away. It's not a half and it's not a quarter of the size. Oops. Okay, it's sort of, if we go here and go, that's my half here, that's my half there. So what it is actually like a quarter of a half. And a quarter of a half, so if we go a half divided by 4 is actually 6.25. Graphic type does not distort or degrade when enlarged. So if we look at our options here, we've got scalar. Well, a scalar vector graphic doesn't distort or degrade when enlarged, but scalar isn't really part of the syllabus. Vector is a very, very good answer. PostScript and bitmapped are not. So probably between these two, scalar and vector, but scalar definitely is not part of the syllabus, and vector is. So when we look at here, vector 2 is the terminology that looks at graphic types.